Remember the good old days? Well, not everyone does. Fishing journalist Kirk Dieter went back to the place where he grew up and found that things have changed for the better. Because on Lake Erie, these are the good old days. Fishermen love to talk about the good old days. They'll yammer on and on about how the live wells and the stringers used to be heavier, the fish longer and fatter, and the piers and boat ramps less crowded. If you strike up a conversation at a bait shop or a diner near just about any body of water, someone will tell you that you should have been here 50 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 3 years ago, or maybe last week. Whether it's by a matter of hours or a lifetime, you've just missed out on the glory days. What if I told you that there's a place where the walleye fishing is better right now than ever before? Well, there is. If you are a walleye angler, it's time to get to Lake Erie, because these are the good old days. In the actual good old days, when Kirk Dieter was a young angler growing up in Toledo, Lake Erie was far from good. In fact, it was kind of gross. In the late 60s and early 70s, this place was declared dead. Decades of unchecked overfishing, habitat loss, and dumping tons of industrial waste, fertilizer, and raw sewage into the water eventually took its toll. Kirk's family watched Erie's demise, the pollution, a burning Cuyahoga River, algae blooms, mercury, DDT, PCBs, legions of dead fish washing up on the beaches. The lake collapsed, local industries shuttered, and Kirk's family moved away from Ohio. Kirk went on to become a fishing writer and conservation advocate. He became an editor at Field and Stream magazine and the vice president of the fisheries conservation group Trout Unlimited. He's written award-winning fishing books and chased fish all over the world. But the one place Kirk never thought his fishing travels would take him back was to his childhood home, because like so many Americans, Kirk remembered Erie as a desolate, ruined place. But Kirk's about to learn that Lake Erie is actually a conservation success story, a testament to how well fisheries can recover from pollution and other human damage if we just stop screwing them up. In fact, this is the greatest walleye fishery that has ever existed anywhere on the planet, which is why we sent Kirk to the walleye capital of the world. Nope, not that one. Not that one either. Okay, so there's actually 10 different towns that claim to be the walleye capital of the world, but only Port Clinton, Ohio, sits on the banks of the Great Lake Erie.
This is almost quintessentially how I remember Lake Erie. You know, a little roughness, a little weather. I mean, it's so cool that each of the lakes and the Great Lakes has their own personality. And Erie has always been the one that's been the most mysterious and interesting to me. Often overlooked, often underappreciated. It's like the Cinderella of the Great Lakes. And it's a Cinderella story.
Lake Erie is one of America's greatest conservation stories. After the clean water legislation of the early 70s, pollution levels dropped and the fish came back. At least some of them did. Walleye took full advantage of the cleaner water and ample food and soon began growing and reproducing at rates nobody had ever seen before.
Travis, how are you?
Good, nice to meet you.
Good to see you. Thanks for meeting me here.
Oh, no problem. Want to get some breakfast?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Let's talk about the walleye fishery. Now might be the best time ever for fishing for walleye.
You know, we like to say this is the good old days for walleye fishing.
How about talk to me about size? Is this I mean, we talk about the year classes and the fish age out and they get bigger, obviously. Where are we on that?
So we're fortunate right now to have a lot of young year classes. So we've had really consistent recruitment or hatch success, which is rare. We don't usually have that. So right now we have a lot of young fish, a lot of fish up to 24 or 5 inches. And as they age, it's only going to get better as far as size and trophies.
3 years from now,
oh yeah,
there'll be no better place in the world to be than...
Absolutely. You know, when you're on Lake Erie, any minute there's a chance you're going to catch that 30, 31, 32-inch fish. They're always out there. But when we get these big year classes that age into that age range, and it's around 10 years old and older, when they hit 10, we have fish over 28 inches and they really start getting big. It's going to be incredible in 3, 4, 5 years for sure.
So it's going to go from incredible now to more incredible.
More incredible, more better, right?
More better stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks again. I appreciate it.
In the next episode, we are going to show you just how good this fishery is with local captain Ross Robertson, and to show you how to catch some of the largest walleye of the year in the spring. Stay tuned.